Welcome. This is Glasgow Rangers. I'm Owen James, and this is all your latest Rangers news, guys. We're going to talk Josh Windass. Yes, that name comes up again. Former Rangers player, obviously now 31 years old, linked with the club. We're going to talk. Then we've got apparently signed the next John Stones. We're going to talk about that. We'll get to who that is in a minute, guys. I know you'll all be going, who the bloody hell's John Stones? Well, you won't be going, who the bloody hell's John Stones, but who the bloody hell is the John Stones? Yeah, we'll get there. I'm also going to talk another possible link to an Austrian winger as well that has been linked with a move to Rangers. That's Theo, Balo. We'll talk a little bit of him as well in this video, guys. Look at all those videos. Thank you so much for all your support over the last few weeks, months. We've really grown fantastically well over it. And look, the hope is, to get to 10k as soon as possible. The hope is to go full time. The hope is to do this full time, to bring you 2 lives a day, to bring you a couple of videos a day, to bring you so many more shows and so much more content. For those of you who don't know, I'm sure some of you have seen, heard of, or whatever, the United Stand, Mark Goldbridge, one of the biggest football YouTuber out there. The aspiration is to get Glasgow Rangers Nation to that size and to obviously have you along for the journey. But one thing that we'll never lose sight of here on this channel is people that put us here. And at the end of the day, the people that put us here are you guys, and you're the ones that are important. Your views, your comments, your thoughts are the ones that are important. I'm the one who's lucky enough to sit here and talk shit for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours, whatever. You're the ones obviously who put in all the the watch time, the comments. And we're one Rangers family. We all want the same thing for the club, no matter who the 11 players are on the pitch. No matter who is pulling on that blue jersey, that royal blue jersey, on a Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, whenever the hell they put it on. We all want them to win. That's all we want at the end of the day. We all want them to win. We all want to get back to the top. We all want to put that lot from across the city back in their boxes, back where they belong. And that's all we want, isn't it? Right, let's start off with the next John Stones. Right, John Stones, obviously, England international, Manchester City player, very successful player. No, we have not signed John Stones, and no, we are not going to sign John Stones, just before anyone knows. He is 31 years old. He is at Manchester City, and even if Manchester City are found guilty of the 115 charges, can't see there being a fire sale of all their players. And plus, I'm guessing the wages he is on is astronomical. But John Stones is a player who is very famous for the fact that he is the archetypal ball-playing centre-half. He is the bring it out from the back, spray passes around, create from the back. He is the guy who can invert, the guy who can move into defensive midfield. He is the guy who can move through the gears, move through the phases of play, can thread passes through. He has that creativity from centre-back. And look, at the end of the day, if you've got a kind of... And I've got to stop saying that. I'm starting to sound like a footballer. You've got to look at this way. Russell Martin, quite clearly, is a guy who kind of subscribes to the Pep Guardiola theory of football. The passing, the movement, the tiki-taka, the control of the ball. The fact that the whole ethos is to control the football and control the game. You look at Guardiola's teams and they have 70-80% possession in most games and they dominate possession. And I think the aim for Russell Martin is to bring a similar style of football to Rangers. And I think for Martin, he kind of sees Rangers as his Manchester City, as his Barcelona, as his Bayern Munich. He sees them as been his platform to turn to be like Pep. Look, realistically, Russell Martin is never realistically going to get a job like a Manchester City job, or a Chelsea, or a Liverpool, or an Arsenal, or a Barcelona, or a Real Madrid. But he is at one of the biggest clubs in European football. He is at one of the most massive, worldwidely supported clubs anywhere. And he has the potential to turn himself into a hero, turn himself into, if you want, the governed Guardiola. We could nickname him that if it all works out this season, as we're trying to obviously be more optimistic going into the new season. Now, why am I talking about John Stones? Getting back to the thing. John Stones, obviously, ball-playing centre-half. Now, people have talked about, Rangers' desire to bring in a ball-playing centre-half. That's been the strong words. And I think, you can kind of look at the club at the moment, and whoever plays centre-back of the existing options, there isn't one. John Suter is not a ball-playing centre-half. He's a old muck and bullet, stick himself in the way, stick his head in where people don't want to stick their boots. Robin Popper's just a bomb scare. Ben Davies is kind of a ball-playing centre-half, but not a great one. Leon King is struggling. Clinton Nsiala could be a ball-playing centre-half, but hasn't got the experience to do so. But Rangers genuinely believe that they found their own John Stones, the kind of cheaper John Stones, the kind of Lidl John Stones, if you want. If the original John Stones is the Waitrose, Marks and Spencer's John Stones, we've kind of got the Lidl Aldi John Stones, because that's the kind of markets we're shopping in. That's a weird analogy. Anyway, nothing against Lidl and Aldi for anybody from Lidl and Aldi sues me. But NASA Jiga, whatever you want to call him, right? NASA. Let's just say that. Big N. That can be taken the wrong way. Anyway, Jiga, he is described as being the archetypal ball-playing centre-half. He has been likened in his approach to the game to John Stones, in the way that he plays his game, in the way that he brings the ball out from the back, in the way that he distributes the ball. He has been likened very much to playing in that John Stones type of mould. And I think Russell Martin has kind of looked at it and he's kind of said, right, we've got to go out and get somebody. We've got to go out and get somebody who's going to play like John Stones for my system to work. Realistically, we're not going to get John Stones because of or anyone of his talent level, because that's going to cost you 70, 80, 90 million pounds. But someone like Giga on a season-long loan is going to do a job for us and fill those gaps. Now, I understand the frustrations. I get the frustrations 1,000,000%. You all want players that we buy, we hold on to, we build around, we sell perhaps in the future for big money. However, unfortunately, the position we are now in, the position we are currently in terms of FFP, in terms of money, in terms of all that, we cannot go out and buy 9, 10 players and spend vast sums of money on all 9, 10 players. It is just financially irresponsible, financially not possible. So there is going to be a situation when we bring in loan players, and some of those loan players won't be with options to buy or obligations to buy. Why? Because those loans with obligations and options have to be for players who are affordable. Now, considering that Wolves paid somewhere in the region of £10 million for Giga, they're unlikely to let him go for less than £10 million. So, you're working on the basis that if Rangers were to put an obligation to buy into this guy's contract or an option to buy, it would probably be somewhere in the region of 12 to 15 million. So, realistically, at this point, that's gambling on perhaps Champions League funds, it's gambling on winning leagues, it's gambling on winning competitions, something that we can't guarantee. So that's why we're having to go down, I think, this loan market and bring in loans. Now, if this works for us in the short term, that it enables us to bring these players in like Max Aarons, like Nasajiga, then it will work. And it works, then we can go into a situation where we are being able to perhaps disregard the loan market, the straight loan market, and buy players of our very own and keep those players. But Giga, to me, looks a player. He looks like a player who can genuinely do that job of being that ball-playing centre-half. The man to be the metronome, the man to be the wizard, the man to be the quarterback, the man to be the system starter for Russell Martin. And that's what he wants at the back. I think, we saw against Club Brugge that in both halves, the centre-back pairing, whoever it was awful. And it didn't have the elements that Martin wanted for his system to succeed. And, the 3 players, 4 players, the players who played at centre-back on Sunday against Club Brugge quite clearly showed that they are not the players that can take this club forward. They are not the players that are the future of this club or the short-term future of this club. We need players who can come in, be the ball players, be the system starters, be that ball-playing centre-half. And Giga is the sort of player who can do that. He's the sort of player who, can really come in, do a job and play well and start those attacks. Now, one thing I am going to say is, and this is very Rangers, so Rangers, apparently Nasajiga suffered a freak injury in his first training session. It could only happen at Rangers, okay? Apparently he got a bang on the head. That's why he was running around with that white band around his head. It's not a serious injury, but it's very Rangers, isn't it? The fact that a player comes in and within 2 minutes he's pretty much injured. Like I said the other day, perhaps we need someone to go around and perhaps pee in the corner of every corner of Ibrox and lift the voodoo curse. That's probably the injury curse. But he did look an absolute mission. He did look a bit of a cult hero, didn't he, with the white bandana, very Terry Butcher-esque in training yesterday. And he also looks very quick as well. Quick, big, strong, ball-playing centre-back. Looks the business. Certainly very, 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 I think, much looking forward to seeing this young man play. And I think, one of the things you can kind of look at as well is this lad is, yes, only young. He's only in his early 20s, but he's got already some great experience that he can bring to the party. He's been with FC Bâle in the Swiss Super League. He's played with Nîmes in League 2 in France. He's played for Red Star Belgrade in the Serbian Super League and in the in European competition. So he's played 5-6 games in the Premier League. He's got experience which he brings to the party. It's not like we're bringing in a squad player who's got hardly any game time under his belt. He has got game time. He has got the ability, I think, to be a big part of Rangers' future. Right, let's move it along a little bit. Right, I want to talk about Josh Windass. I've got to say, when I was growing up as a kid, I did rather childishly find the whole Windass last name bloody hilarious. I mean, I don't know why, it was just funny. Dean Windass, Josh's dad, was fucking hilarious. And even as an adult, which I kind of am an adult apparently, you still find it a little bit funny. I've got to say, Gary Windass on Corrie, found that funny. Dean Windass, still quite funny. Especially as Dean Windass looks like he's stifling a fart all the time. Look at his face. Josh Windass, obviously, as well. Now, we all remember Josh Windass. He played for Rangers. He's been a Rangers player already. And we know that Sheffield Wednesday are going through somewhat of a fire sale. They are a club in crisis. They're a club that I think could seriously go out of business, which, considering they're one of England's historical clubs, would be very, very sad indeed. Sheffield Wednesday have already made it very clear that they are willing to allow players to leave in this financial crisis that they're in. JD Gassama is obviously expected to join Rangers very soon, which will be a fantastic move. This lad looks the business as well. Gassama looks quality, fast, strong, skillful. He looks absolute superstar who, we sign him, I think he could be worth 10 times whatever we pay for him in the next couple of years. There's some players as well who've put in their notice to the club over unpaid wages. Like I said, this is a club in massive crisis. Obviously, their manager walked out on them as well. They're in a real difficult position. Now, Josh Windass obviously is under contract. He had his contract extended. He has been the club's top scorer this century. He's somewhat of a bit of a cult hero in Sheffield. And he's someone who has admirers right across the English Championship. Wrexham, apparently, who are obviously newly promoted to Championship, reportedly want to bring him to the club. Coventry City, Derby County, Norwich City, the arch nemesis of Rangers, Norwich City, apparently all interested in Josh Windass. Right, look, I do find this link a very, very, very weird one. I've got to say that. It is a very weird one. He's an attacking midfield player. We've just signed Thelo Asgard. Nadim Bayrami looks like he's going through somewhat of a revival under Russell Martin. You look at you look at Bayrami, and I know it was only a pre-season friendly, but played in his rightful position as an attacking midfielder. He actually looked a player. So, if he doesn't leave, you've got Bayrami, you've got Asgard, who I think is a massive part of this club as well going forward. So I've got to kind of say I don't really get the whole Josh Windass thing. I think maybe it's a bit of lazy journalism. Maybe it's a bit of, he used to play for Rangers. It looks like he's going to leave. Let's just stick a link in because Rangers fans will click on it and read it. That could be an element to it. Like I said, he has been a Rangers player before. He joined obviously in 2016 on a 4-year contract. He had been training with the club previously. He made his debut in a pre-season friendly against Charleston Battery, that American team. You remember that game way back on the 7th of July 2016? Actually scored. His official debut was against Motherwell on the 16th of July. He had a period here with the club. Didn't do too badly. Didn't do brilliantly, didn't do badly. In terms of his career statistics during his time at Rangers, 3 seasons he spent with us, 73 appearances, 19 goals. Certainly not prolific, but was a lot younger man back then. Obviously now carries a lot more experience, having played for Wigan Sheffield Wednesday since obviously leaving Rangers. He went to Wigan from Rangers, spent 2 seasons there in the Championship with them, making 56 appearances and scoring 9 goals. He's since then been with Sheffield Wednesday for 6 seasons where he's made 173 appearances, scoring 50 goals for the Owls. Like I said, I don't get this one. I genuinely don't get this one. I genuinely don't understand it. I don't think there's a lot of truth in it. I don't think there's a lot in this. I don't think it's got legs, as they say, because of the signings we've already made in Asgard. We've got Bayrami. You know, I think if you're looking at this logically, Rangers are probably looking now at, you know, looking probably for the centre back, looking for strikers, looking for a left winger. I don't see, you know, looking for right wingers. Those are the positions we're kind of looking at. I don't see Windass as a priority at this point. I don't see him as a realistic option. Like I said, I think this is a bit of lazy journalism. I think this is a bit of kind of just, for me, it's a non-runner. It's the non-runner. It's the clickbait story. It's the let's get Rangers fans talking, going, and let's get them on our websites and get them on our you know, clicking on our links, and let's get them reading, and let's get those click links up. I think that's all it is, to be honest with you. Look, nothing against Josh Windass. I've got nothing against him. I just don't think that he has a part to play in this club now going forward. He's 31. You know, this is not a long-term signing. I know we've been bringing in some older players, which is good for the experience. The Joe Rothwells, for example, of this world. But I do think that the fact we've got Asgard, the fact that Bayrami seems to be reborn a little bit under Martin, I don't think we need someone like Josh Windass at the club. That's just my personal thoughts. You might have different thoughts. You may love it. You may want him back. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, let's move it on. So, look, there's certain people, when they speak in the world of football journalism, that you listen to. Okay, these are the guys who are in the know, the ITK guys, the real, genuine ITK guys. The guys that, when they speak and when they talk about links to Rangers or links to clubs across Europe, I listen to them. The guys who I have respect for, the guys who I think, yeah, these are the guys that know what they're talking about. And that's Fabrizio Romano, that's Sasha Tovaglieri, that's Florian Plettenberg, David Ornstein. These are the guys that when they speak, you listen to them. These 4 guys are in the know. These 4 guys know what's going on with the transfer market across Europe. You know, these are the real in the know guys when it comes to actually finding out transfer stories and the true transfer stories, and not making a tit of themselves like some people do. So Florian Plettenberg, Plettigol, at Plettigol on X if you want to follow him. German Sky Germany journalist, really, like I said, a real in the know guy. Has said that Ajax, Glasgow Rangers and Mainz, the German team, are monitoring Theo Balo and have made inquiries about the 23-year-old winger from Wolfsberger AC. No decision has been made yet. More teams are keen on him, and a move for Austria's new international is planned for this summer. Talks are ongoing. Source is Sky Deutschland. So, what do we know about this young man, Theo Balo? Like I said, this is a link that has come from a very, very reliable source in Florian Plettenberg. He's a guy, like I said, that when he speaks, you listen. You know, he is someone who knows what he is talking about. He's an Ivory Coast player. He's born in the Ivory Coast. That's where he's from originally, Theo Balo. Currently with Wolfsberger AC in Austria. He's 23 years old. So again, very much in that mould of the players that Rangers are looking at. Young, talented, up and coming. Players who you can feed into your trading model. Players who, you know, 2-3 years down the line are going to be worth substantial amounts of money, hopefully. And you can move on for those big profits. His transfer market value is currently listed around €5 million, which is about £4.5 million. So he's certainly not massively expensive. He is well under 6 foot. He's 1.72 metres tall. He is a left winger. He can also play attacking midfield and centre forward. So he fills a number of different positions, and a number of different positions that Rangers do need addressing and could provide some useful depth at other areas. But left wing obviously being a position that Rangers do need to strengthen with the unreliability of Oscar Cortez, as good as Oscar looked the other day. This is a guy who, you know, he's been with, with a number of different clubs across Europe. He started off at Linz before he went to Lask on a free transfer. He then went on loan to Bayer Leverkusen, had a spell with Colne, was with Chelsea's youth system for a little bit as well, with their under 18s and their under 23s, before he went on loan to Rapid Vienna. He came back to Chelsea, never really broke through at Chelsea. He was never a player who ever troubled their first team. Like I said, he only played under 18s and 23 football for Chelsea in England. He then obviously went on a free transfer in the 22-23 season to Wolfsberger. Not Wolfsburg of Germany, where Tierney came from, Wolfsberger in Austria, in the 22-23 season. Actually, he's a left winger, a right-footed left winger, so very much that invert style, very much what Russell Martin likes, very much, which is the modern thing in football, isn't it? Two wingers that invert, a left footer on the right and a right footer on the left, which throws me completely. I mean, I'm very much old traditionalist. Stick him out on the wing, right footer gets to the byline, whips the ball in for centre forward, left. Perhaps I'm just too old. I don't know. I'm getting old now. I am an old man. He's got a vast level of experience. He is a full Austrian international now, despite the fact he's born in the Ivory Coast. He is a naturalised Austrian, given his background and the clubs he's played for. He's got the residential permit there, so won't be heading off to AFCON with the Ivory Coast. Is a European citizen. Has had one cap for Austria so far, but has played for Austria at every youth level anyway, under 15s, under 16s, under 17s, under 18s, under 19s, and made 20 appearances, scoring 7 goals in Austria's under 21s. We look at his stats from his club time, his club career. With Wolfsberger, he's made over 100 appearances for Wolfsberger, scored 33 goals and 15 assists, so 48 goal contributions in 102, which is a decent return. Chelsea under 23s, he made 47 appearances, 12 goals, 7 assists. Chelsea under 18s, 30 appearances, 9 goals, 3 assists. Played 13 times for Rapid Vienna. Has got experience in the Austrian Bundesliga, obviously. Played in the German Cup, played in the Conference League qualifiers. So has a vast array and a vast CV of experience. Exciting player, is an exciting player. And again, in that winger option, and like I said, we do seem to be looking at wingers, and I think that is a positive thing, that we are looking at attacking players now. We've kind of spent some time, haven't we, on looking at defenders and bringing in defenders. We now seem to be going towards the attacking side of the conundrum and the way of improving that side of things. A little bit on Theo Balo. He's known for his attacking play, obviously been a winger. What were his strengths? Goal scoring as a winger. Obviously he scored 13 times for Wolfsberger last season, and then we do need to replace goals from the wing. Obviously Tierney contributing 17 last season, and Tierney was outstanding last season. So Balo can bring that goal scoring element to the party. Playmaking as well. He is a playmaker. His assists, his passing, his creation is very, very good as well. He's versatile. He has position flexibility, which is something that that a lot of modern coaches want from their players. Players who can play in a number of different positions and do well in those positions, and then not have the excuse of, well, I'm not playing in my natural position. Potential as well. He still has a lot of room to grow and develop and improve. Again, fits that very much that trading model. He has got some weaknesses that he does need to develop and work on. He has a slight inconsistency of performance level, so he doesn't always produce to the highest of levels. That could, of course, be coming down to coaching and other elements of that. The defensive side of the game is something he needs to work on. His tracking back, again, that's coachable. Lateral movement within the game as well, coming inside. Again, that's something he does need to develop a little bit further. So, look, he's a very promising good footballer, a very good goal scorer. Certainly someone I think could come in, go straight into the team and make a difference if Rangers were lucky enough to get him. Obviously, the competition been there from Ajax and Mainz. That is big competition. Obviously, Ajax been probably the biggest level of competition there under new head coach Johnny Heitinga. So, Balo, I think, would be a very, very good player to bring in. I mean, you really look at that and you look at the excitement level. If we could go out and sign a striker, a proper striker, someone like Turgeman, for example, if you had Turgeman up front and you had a 3 behind him of Gassama, Asgard and Balo, I think that would be very exciting and certainly would put the fear into a lot of defences in the SPL, including the Green and Greys from across the city. I think there would be a huge element of fear there at those players. And, as much as they may mock or they may try to mock and take the piss, who cares what they think? We're Rangers, we don't care what people think of us. I think that attacking 4 would be very, very scary and put the fear of God into a lot of people. And also the fact that, you're bringing in there four players who all have the elements that Russell Martin wants. They're mobile, they have position flexibility and fluidity, They are fast. They can work the back four. They're strong. They're quick. They can high press. They can aggressively high press. You look at some of the options we've got at the moment, and look, you can talk about Cyril Dessers and his goals all you want. The guy cannot do the physical, strong, high press. He's not fast enough. He's not quick enough to do that, and his aggression is not great anyway. Whereas obviously someone like Turgeman would bring that. Again, Cortez doesn't look the most aggressive presser in the world, does he? Young McCausland, again, the same. So, you do bring in, looking at, obviously, Gassama, you're looking at Balo, you're looking at Turgeman. They all bring those elements that Russell Martin quite clearly wants from his team going forward. And I think they would all, for me, be really good additions. Obviously, Asgard is already here, but Turgeman, Gassama, and Balo would be great additions for Rangers and really give us a real threat going forward. And I think would be, getting away from playing Celtic for a minute, which last season we only lost to them once. The weakness last season was beating the lower teams. And I think, if you've got players of the class and the talent and the ability to go past people, which is one of the big things you need in a low block, to overcome a low block, the ability to beat a man and go past him to create space, in Asgard, in bringing in hopefully Gassama, in bringing in hopefully Balo, that would certainly give us all those elements we need to overcome those low blocks. For me, perfect. For me, absolutely perfect. But look, let's kind of deal with a few facts here. Gassama is apparently training with Rangers already, so it looks like that's going to be a done deal and announced fairly soon. It's certainly been a fantastic summer so far. I mean, 6, 7 possible signings already on 6 done, 7 possibly coming. Look, in the best will in the world, I don't think anyone realistically expected this many with more to come. We seriously could be talking about 9, 10, 11 new players being signed by the end of this window, which would be amazing. And it really does show that the new owners mean business. They want to move this club forward. They have a real drive for success. And I'm sure that, Kevin Thelwell, Dan Purdy are playing a big role in that. And, for me, as someone who loves this club, it's nice to see that we've got owners, a sporting director, head of scouting that seems to actually genuinely know what the hell they're doing with the football club. They don't look like a load of 1970s businessmen who are just doing it because they like the tie, they like the jacket, and they like sitting in the comfy seats and guzzling the buffet at lunch at half time. This is a group of people who are businessmen, who are sports businessmen, who know how to build successful sports teams, sports franchises, sports clubs, whatever you want to call them. And it's nice to see we finally got that, and I think that's really refreshing for me, really positive. Right, guys, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, if you've enjoyed the content, remember, we don't charge you for content. We don't have a Patreon. We don't say to you, give us $2.50 a month, give us a $5 a month, okay? If you do want to donate to the channel, great. Super thanks button is below. Press it, donate. Become a member, 99p a month, less than a cup of McDonald's, Cafe Nero, Costa, Starbucks coffee, whatever coffee you want to talk about, or tea, or milkshake, whatever you like, guys, whatever you like. But look, please smash that sub. Please ring that notification bell. Look, we're moving on. We're developing. We're moving forward, guys. We've been talking about the way forward with the channel. Been telling my partner about the channel. There's a way of moving forward. There's a way of looking at this differently, I think, and sort of still bringing you forthright views, which I know you all like, but still bringing a level of professionalism now and development into this channel. And the best way to do that, guys, to help. Smash the sub, ring the notification bell, help the channel to grow. Let's get to 8,000 subs by the start of the season, and let's hit 10,000 subs by the end of the season. It's phenomenal doing this. I love doing this. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all your support to this point. It's been amazing. Guys, I'll catch you soon here on Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. Off to work I go. Ugh, the day job. Ugh.